Greetings. Welcome to the stream. Welcome. Hello if you are watching live. Hello if you are watching on catch up. It is nice to be back. It is nice to be back on stream. Hello. Thank you so much for coming along. Thank you so much for being here. I'm back off holiday. I'm back from New York. Still very jet lagged. So we got back from New York on Monday, and we're still adjusting to the time zone difference a little bit. But yeah, it is good to be back. Sonova Art, hello. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you so much for being here. It's good to see you. Good to have you here. Yeah, it's nice to like I was hoping to stream on Monday, but then obviously that didn't happen because we got back from so we left New York on Sunday evening, and then didn't get back till like Monday midday UK time. So I was Cardiff. Hi Nismi, how you doing? Cardiff was good. It was very far away. It's a lot further than I thought it was. I didn't realize I had a separate time zone. Cardiff was great. It looked an awful lot like New York. But yeah, no, it was a really great trip. It was really, really good. I had a fantastic time. It's the first time I've left a city like that I've been on holiday to, and I've been sad to leave. Like normally when I'm not very good at truly a different world. It was incredible. It was like I don't think I'm very good at holidays. Like I get maybe like halfway, like 3 days into like a week long trip, and normally after that I'm very like, oh, I want to get back to doing things. Whereas this time around I didn't have that, and I'm choosing to believe it was because I really loved being in New York, and not because I didn't want to go back to work. But it's nice. So we're we're coming towards the end of Camlann, and it's nice to be kind of winding that up and getting that finished. And then a couple of other freelance projects are coming to an end, and I'm starting a job on another podcast that I can't talk about yet, but I'm excited to talk about it soon. It's a really cool thing. I'm really excited to be a part of it. And yeah, so like it's nice. It was a good time to take a break, and it's a good time to come back and get started on stuff. And I'm glad that I'm getting a chance to talk about episode 6 because I'm excited to talk about episode 6 because it's because we didn't do a listen along just because I was on holiday and in Cardiff, and I was wanting to do a stream on Monday, but I was too tired. I was of no use to anyone. Like the airline lost our bags, and basically when we were picking up our bags from the hotel in New York, basically the handles on my case snapped. And then so we had to wait a couple of days for our clothes to come back, and then when we got the cases we realized we'd been robbed, and yeah, it was just a lot of. So Monday was busy. Monday a lot happened on Monday, so I decided to take the evening and just rest, which I'm glad I did because it means I've got slightly more energy to talk to you today, slightly. But yeah, I'm let's head over to the screen, because otherwise I'll get bogged down telling you about my holiday, and as somebody who has had to suffer many a holiday slideshow, I understand how tedious that can be. So let's throw ourselves over to the thing. So like episode 6 was the episode that myself, Ella, and Ross were all scared of, because it was recorded after we'd done everything else. It was the last episode we recorded, because we had the recording week with the main cast recording all the other episodes, and then this was recorded remotely, and also the writing of it, like the scale of this episode is quite big, and we weren't really sure how we were going to accomplish that. And there wasn't really this sense of like, well, we don't know how long this is going to take, because it's it's so different from the rest of the series. And you know, a lot of the time, most of the time when you're working on a series, by the time you get to episode 5 or episode 6, you're kind of in the rhythm of it, right? Like you kind of know the pacing of the episode, you know the rhythm, you know the sound of it, and like the sort of ambience of it, but then also like the music and the style of the music and things. None of that is in this episode. None of that applies to this episode because we're somewhere completely different with different actors in a different place and a different world and a different story, and that was quite worrying. And I sort of took my usual attitude of it's fine, it'll be fine, we'll get there, it'll get made, it'll get done. But the big challenge and the big concern, I think, was that we'd spent this whole series emphasizing character movement, and we recorded it in a way that meant the actors could move about, and it was this very active recording session, and it was sort of full body acting, and this wasn't recorded that way. This was recorded remotely. Like I wasn't able to sit in on the recording sessions for this one because I was busy editing everything else. So it meant that, you know, it was recorded with actors, you know, this close to a microphone. It was recorded in a much more traditional kind of way. And I was kind of going, well, how do we continue to make this sound like Camlann, even though it is so different? It already sounds so different from everything else. And Witch Cat Possum, hello, good to have you here. We're talking about episode 6 of Camlann, which was the big scary one that we were worried about. Full body acting. Well, we sort of, the interesting thing with this episode is that we found ways of cheating it, which I'm really excited to talk about. Like, we still managed to put a lot of movement into this episode, and also I learned a lot of sound design stuff with the Green Knight. So we're not talking about the Green Knight. We're talking about the episode after that. We're talking about episode 6, which is the episode with Odysseus and Polyphemus. And there's a lot of stuff that I learned from this episode, in particular when it comes to the sort of action sounds. Like I sort of mentioned this in the last couple of streams where you talk about, you know, you've got the lead up to a sound, and then you've got the lead up to an action, you've got the action itself, and then you've got the tail, and learned a lot with this, particularly dealing with a creature like Polyphemus, who is so big. I haven't gotten to that, but I really want to be here. I mean, like I'm not going to be playing the whole episode. I'm just going to be talking about bits and pieces. Episode 6 is a retelling of a story from the Odyssey. So in terms of the main series, there isn't really any spoilers today. This is a separate kind of episode from the rest of the series. So you can still be here. You're very welcome to hang out, and there won't be any spoilers for the rest of the series for, you know, the main cast or the primary story. This is a separate kind of thing, which I thought was a really cool thing that Ella did. Like I sort of got. Is that the one with the Cyclops? It is the one with the Cyclops. Our boy Polyphemus, who we get to. We had some really fun spoilers for the Odyssey. You know what? I think. You know, I don't think we need to worry about spoilers for one of the oldest texts in the one of the oldest stories we have. Though I appreciate the dedication to it. And that was the other challenge as well. That was the bit I was scared of. Right? This is a story that's been told for centuries, and it's been adapted in various different ways, and it's come from, you know, it's been interpreted in lots of different ways by in many different mediums. And I think if you're here, you probably know the Odyssey. I like to believe, I choose to believe that we've cultivated an audience that knows, that at least is aware of the Odyssey, and everyone kind of wants to, exactly. Everyone has their own idea of what this story is like, and Ella rewrote this script a lot more than I think other episodes. Like I was hoping to have Ella on tonight, but unfortunately, well, it's not unfortunately. She should be. She's on holiday, and she's currently flying back over, back home from holiday. But no, like this was this was a complex episode for us, and it was quite an intimidating episode for us. But I'm glad we did it. It's, for me, I think it was one of the more fun episodes for me, because as much as it was scary to be taking on a story like this, it also meant that we could do sound design that was very grand, that was quite big in scope, and do some interesting, fun things, and take from some really kind of take influence from some really odd places, and really kind of lean into that. I have my own version set in modern day USA where Odysseus is a very unfortunate long haul track. Well, it like me and my partner have this long running bit about how Odysseus never knows where he is. Like, it's just like it's a story that is a very old story, and I think it was nice to take a story like this and then turn it into an episode of an audio drama. And also, as much as I was worried because it was a standalone episode, there's also a certain amount of freedom that comes from that as well. So we're mostly going to be talking about the sound design today. I do have the music project file loaded up, but there's not really a lot to talk about with the music. That's not to say that like it's bad or anything. It's more just like it's mostly just one piece of music, and it's kind of, the music here is kind of where you expect it to be, I guess. And yeah, I think the sound design is much more interesting. We can talk about the music if it's worth talking about, but yeah, in terms of this episode, I really wanted to focus on the sound design aspect of it. Little blonde boy on his dashboard. He hasn't seen his son in 20 years, but his son is still the boy on the dashboard who will never age, never feel pain. That's nice. That is nice. It's a really fun. Like, this is I think it's again, because it's such an old story. I love that you can pull lots of different things out of that, and I think this is another example of that. This is another interpretation of that, where you have what if you had this story from the Odyssey, but everyone involved in the story knows that they're in a story from the Odyssey, and they're trying to kind of avoid it as much as possible, or they react to that information or that knowledge in different ways. So you've got Odysseus being like, I don't want people to die. I don't want to have people die on my behalf as part of my story. And then you've got Polyphemus, who is very much like, I'm not going to fall for this again. And then you have Ariadne, who's not in the story, who's desperately trying to kind of pull this together and try and save everyone. So it's interesting, really, really interesting, and it was a lot of fun to do. So let's get started. So the first scene, you're gonna get a lot of boat sound design in this episode, and that comes in straight away at the first scene. Boats, or just the one boat.
Στο πακέστο ξαναλέω, στο γυαλό μην κατέβει.
Got lots of boats. If you like boat sounds, this is the stream for you.
Κι ο γυαλός κάνει φορτούνα και σε πάρει και διαβείς. My name is Odysseus Papadakis, so you can guess where this is going. I'm a sailor. I was a sailor even before the world went to shit, working for rich men with too much money and too much time. They got eaten pretty quickly when the monsters turned up, so their ship is mine now. She's beautiful. I wish you could see her. I'm a sailor, which means I know this sea. I know she's not small, but perfectly sized. I know it takes less than 9 months to cross her because I've circumnavigated these waves more times than I can count. But the world died, and the stories woke up, and I am Odysseus. Famously, it takes the king of Ithaki 10 years to get home after Tria. Famously, he's the only survivor of that journey. Famously, he will do anything to get back to his Penelope and their son Telemachos. I don't have a wife, or a son, and I am no king of Ithaki. But I am lost, and I do need to go home. I've heard that one before.
So, couple of things to keep in mind throughout this episode. So I'm just going to plant these just now. So first thing to be aware of is that Odysseus, Ariadne, Polyphemus, and the Walla, which is very quiet, so you can't really hear it, but it is there. That was all recorded separately. So the actors weren't acting off each other when this was recorded. Like, everyone was recorded separately, just due to circumstance and timing and stuff. Everyone was recorded separately. That's something to keep in mind. Second thing to point out, and this is a sound design thing, you're going to hear a lot of wind chimes in this episode, and that was a deliberate kind of thing that came out during the editing process. I think I kind of said to Ella at some point, like, I want to use wind chimes as a motif in this episode, and that becomes more of a thing when we go into Polyphemus's cave and with the sheep, and also Polyphemus is wearing a necklace, and then these are all sounds that are kind of used as a little motif in the episode, which was a nice kind of little extra bit of sound design texture to add in there. So if we just mute the voices for the time being, and if we mute the music, which is down here, and get an idea of what that sounds like. So this is our boat. So there's quite a few sounds here to talk about. I really couldn't tell they didn't record together. The acting and your editing was really good. Thank you very much. That's very kind. Another important thing to say, I can't take full credit for this edit because Ross, our fantastic production manager, very, very kindly did the dialogue edit for this one. Basically, while I was doing episode 5, Ross and I had a chat, and I basically said, look, I'm the thing that's going to take the most amount of time with this episode is the dialogue edit. Like, because it was remote recorded, because everyone was recorded separately, we didn't have any take notes like we have with the rest of the episodes. We didn't keep track of take numbers, we didn't keep track of anything like that. So so it meant that I was like, it's going to take me ages to find the correct takes and things. So Ross went, well, look, why don't I do the dialogue edit for you? And then it means when you're coming to the episode, when you come to the episode, you'll have all the audio you need. So it was great, and it worked out because Ross wants to do more audio editing, and I didn't want to do the dialogue edit, so it worked out great. But yeah, so. I'm very much indebted to Ross for a number of different things when it comes to this series, but I very much with this episode in particular, Ross saved this episode a lot of editing time by doing the dialogue edit. So Ross did incredible. Ross did do incredible, but for a first time as well, like first kind of dialogue edit of this size. How do you do group recordings? Because I was thinking of doing remote recording, only is there a way to make it sound okay? Either or. Save Joe Macon. That's mutton bacon. That's nice. That's good. I like that. How do you do group recordings? So, do you mean when you say group recordings? Do you mean like in person, or do you mean like? So you can do group remote recordings. I've done that for in person, right? Okay. So the way we did, I'll tell you what. Let me just load up a particular file. Just come on, episode 7. There we go. Actually, no, I probably shouldn't. I'm just gonna switch over here a second. I probably shouldn't show you episode 7 because it's not out yet. Let me just open up an episode, like a raw episode for you. There we go. That's episode 5. That's a good one. Right. So, group remote recordings might be the best for my time and space at this time. So when we're doing group recordings, we use some software called Riverside that is it's kind of like Zencaster. It's a slightly better version of what Zencaster does. But what it does is it records the audio locally and then it sends it to the host computer. So it's kind of like, imagine doing a Zoom call or recording over a Zoom call, and then but then like the raw audio from the microphone is being sent to you at the end of it. So it means you get studio quality audio, but then also it syncs it up for you, which is beautiful. It's called riverside.fm. That's what we use. There, as an alternative, there is also Zencaster, which I believe is free or it's cheaper. I can't remember. But we use that for remote recording because it means that rather than having to ask actors to record a file at their end and then export it and name it, and everyone has different naming conventions, and then get them to send it to us somehow, it just takes it kind of means that we're managing it our end rather than having to organize it that way. So we use that for in-person recordings. So this is the raw recording file for episode 5. So you can see these little markers here are all take numbers, and then the numbers next to them are the scene number. We recorded Camlann in a slightly odd way, and we recorded it all on one microphone that we had the actors kind of dance around and act around. And then basically anytime we did, the start of the week, the first started with take 1, and then the last thing we recorded, I think, was like 250 or something like that. We didn't reset based on the day. And the reason for that was, if I just give me just a second to load it up for you. Just quickly load this up for episode 5. All the take numbers correspond to this take list here. So the reason we have this take list is so it means that when I come to do the dialogue edit, I know which take to use from each scene. So for scene 2 here, so if I go back, I'll explain this in a slightly better way. So scene 2, we have 130, 131, 132. So those were all 3 takes we did for scene 2. If I go back to the take list document over here, which was made by Ross as well, so Ross is again saving our ass, you'll notice here in the favorite take column, it says 132. So I know right away which take to use, and it's this one. But then also you have little notes like 130 has a slightly different setup from the other ones. So if during a recording we do one take and I go, I want to do this slightly differently, can we change the setup? That'll get written down. And then also it means that because the lines are all numbered down this side, all numbered down this side here, it means that we can take, I'm going to see if I can find an example of it for you. Oh, did everyone just give a consistent performance throughout episode 5? That's slightly frustrating. But it means that, like, say for this scene here, we're using take 146, but Nicole for this line did a slightly better reading on a previous take, it means that we could put 145 or 144 in here. So it means that I can go, right, okay, go to that other take, chop that line out, put it in there. So it means that you get the best performance for absolutely everything. This is very much cribbed from how the BBC make audio drama, how the BBC run their recordings. It's something that I picked up when I was directing Murmurs in 2019, 18, 19, 18, I think, actually. It's probably one of those years. And we've kind of adapted it. Ross very much adapted it for, because the way the BBC do it, they have like printed scripts with like different colored marker pens. Mysterious, hello. Yes, we're talking about take notes and basically how Camlann was recorded. I'm just doing it's a brief digression into how this was recorded. Basically, take numbers here correspond to take numbers here. And then best take goes in there. The way the BBC do it is they print out scripts and they use highlighter pens, like a different color pen for different takes. And then and then they kind of mark which one they want, and what lines get done in each take. So whereas this has been adapted for use of a spreadsheet. So because this is a spreadsheet, specifically it's a Google spreadsheet, it meant that both me and Ross could be looking at it. Ross was sort of standing over there while we were recording. It meant that both me and Ross could put notes into this spreadsheet while we were recording. It also meant we could try and make each other laugh during notes and stuff, but I think we deleted all of those. Yeah, so that's basically the way we did things. But for episode 6, this is all the Walla stuff that we recorded in studio, and then we didn't do any take notes for the remote recordings, so which is why we don't have a raw episode for this one, and it's also why this episode has been edited outside of the big project Camlann file that we've kind of you've seen in previous streams, just because it had to be done in a different way, because all the actors were recorded separately, and because the actors were all recorded separately, and it was a completely different environment, it was a completely different world, completely different story. We just set up an individual project file. It was just easier to do it that way. Yeah, because also as well in the big edit, all the dialogue is recorded on a stereo microphone, and it's kind of edited based around that. These are all recorded in mono on separate microphones in separate environments, so they all needed individually treating, which is why they're all on separate tracks. But we were talking about boats. So this is our boat ambience. Like I said, it quite late on brought in some wind chimes. Just as a little motif to kind of start the episode, and again, it'll be a motif that appears throughout the episode in different ways that I'll explain when we get there. But for the most part, for the boats, you have. So this is a recording of some waves, some distant waves on some rocks. Fairly standard stuff. It's quite nice. It's stereo as well, so you've got a nice kind of variation. We also have seagulls. It's a very clean recording of seagulls, actually. It's very impressive. And then we have. So we've got a sound. So I was trying to find like a sail, like a recording of a sail, because it's meant to be a yacht. And basically, I got this recording of a flag being waved. Somebody doing this. So if you stick those together already, you've kind of got a nice. I believe these are, these are all being sent to a reverb track down here. Just to give it a very, 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 very very subtle reverb track. But then on top of that, you have just like a sailboat. Managed to find a recording of a sailboat, and then also a recording from inside a rowing boat as well. I love this sound in particular. I really love. So if you take a lot of the ambient sounds out, you kind of get this sort of sound. So it's again, it's in stereo, so you get a lovely like little stereo effect. So if we mute Odysseus for a second, it's a lot of sound just to kind of kick things off, right? It's a big starting sound. Because, like I was sort of saying at the beginning of the stream, my kind of anxiety about this episode was that, like, the scale of it is so big. And it's like, well, how do you convey that size? And you've only got 3 voices. But then you have these really big action sequences and these really big settings. And it was basically you just had to just jump in both feet and commit to it. And sort of embrace the chaotic nature of sound design, outdoor sound design, in particular noisy environments like a beach or on the ocean. So that's our kind of first scene. Like I said, I'm not really going to talk about the music because there's not too much to talk about. I will say that for the music here, one of the big things that I used was so this sound here. This is rhythm track. It's a slightly unremarkable thing in general for musicians, but this is the first time I've done something like this. It's from a it's a drum loop. Like it's a recorded drum loop. Because I can't remember where I got it from, but I downloaded a load of drum loops. And I've not really had a chance to kind of fire into them or do anything with them, and I kind of want to wait for a stream where I get to use them. But one of the beats was this one. So I just plunked that in the project file, slowed it down. It was kind of perfect. Because I was very aware that I was kind of like, we're wanting this to sound different to the rest of the series, and it's kind of why I went for a slightly more kind of dramatic sound. And the percussion's going to come up quite a bit when it comes to this episode. It's because you don't really get a lot of percussion in the main series, and that was kind of a deliberate thing in this case to try and separate it from the rest of the score. Yeah, so every time you make a bad pun, you can use the rim shot sound. I mean, there are a lot of one shots. I do have them. It's got some lovely funky beats that I'm looking forward to using. There's drum and bass as well. I think I do have drum and. Where's the drum and bass stuff? There's lots of funk drums. Looking forward to doing something with that. And cross stick groove. But yeah, so basically I downloaded a load of these. It's also like there's sort of a mix of like funk, trance, and then I think there's drum and there's supposed to be some drum and bass stuff in here, but there's like it's one shots as well. Yeah. The problem is, I hear that, and I hear the start of Sonic Heroes. Right? Is that just me? That's just the start of Sonic Heroes. Like, I'm not making that up. Hang on. Like, right? Right? Anyway. But my point is, hi Ollie, came in at the perfect time. The point is that I haven't had a chance to play around with all these drum loops yet, so it was nice to have something like this where I got to play around with a couple of them. Thanks to this stream, I now listen to background music and soundscaping more. Good. I'm glad. Like this. Sorry, something's just fallen off my desk. I'm just sticking it back up again. Like, it makes me happy that people are finding the, like, I'm aware I say this all the time, and I'm going to keep saying it because it's still true. Like, it's nice that people are finding these useful, and that people are getting something out of these streams, and that yeah, I think if it makes people appreciate music and soundscaping more, then I consider this a success. So thank you for saying that. It's very kind. Like, one of my favorite comfort shows, Chopped, is scored like a very intense video game. That's really cool. I love that. That's good fun. So where are we off to next? So there's a lot of sea stuff. It's a cooking competition show. I freaking love that. What are we going to? Oh, so something that appears very quietly in this episode is Walla. And so if you are unfamiliar with what Walla is, it's also sometimes called a loop group. Basically, you get a bunch of actors in front of the microphone. In this case, it was the regular cast of Camlann while they were here. We put them in front of a microphone, and they were the sailors. They were the Odysseus's crew in this episode, and it's used quite subtly. I don't like Walla. I don't like using it. I've talked about this on a previous stream. But it was necessary in this because of the scale of what we were doing, and also, like, a big part of this story is what happens to the crew of the ship, and so we kind of had to have that as a thing. Either that, or it was like casting dozens of people, and we didn't have the budget or time. What is Walla? So Walla's just crowd sound, basically. So in this case, it was anytime you hear the crew, anytime you hear the crew doing anything in the background, you're hearing the main cast of Camlann doing things. Oh, you don't like Walla? No, Ollie, I don't, and we're not going to talk about why. So Ollie and I will have more to say about Walla in the future. But yeah, so in this episode, so in this scene here, you get a little.
Coming through. Over here. Coming through. Mind the barrel. Barrel. Has anyone seen the hammer?
David. Down here.
So that's our cast. That's Tobias, Robin, etc. They were basically, we all stood around a microphone. Ella directed them all, and yeah, and then if you put them in the whole scene, I'll turn the voices off. it's using voices as sound design. It's using voices as texture. And it was important to get to kind of establish the crew quite early on, and to have it as, so it's not just two people in the entire episode. It's like, no, they are a part of a crew, and they have a crew, and that becomes very clear, and that becomes part of the thing. So next up, we are on the island. So they're in a little village. You'd call them wallabies.
We're doing it my way. We are not following it.
Would a crowd of wallabies be wallabies? So next we're in... So there's a lot of sounds here that have been muted. You can kind of tell with these yellow lines here. This is because this scene we were kind of trying to figure out how much sound to put in, and I think in the end I just left them in there just in case we wanted to put them back. But luckily we didn't. But I've left them in there for the time being. Yeah. So I don't think is there a waller in here? No, it's just it's not. There is something to talk about when it comes to movement though later on in the scene. So we'll just skip.
And you'll all die if I do.
Again, wind chimes. That's an important thing to notice.
And you'll all die if I do.
I won't. Not necessarily.
No, don't lie to the liar, Ariadne. Both of us know that the blood would stain your soul as deeply as it would mine, and neither of us will easily survive that.
Would it be so much harder than their weeks of hunger? Huh? Days of thirst? Nights spent screaming as we escape the serpent's jaws?
Oh, sorry, I beg your pardon. There's music. There's supposed to be music there. Sorry.
Nights spent screaming as we escape the serpent's jaws?
Nothing! How is there nothing?
You cannot outrun this Odysseus.
What does that mean for you?
So this is the kind of first moment in the episode where we kind of play around with using Foley and extra sounds and sound effects to kind of punctuate what's being said and to kind of add movement to the characters, so it's not just two talking. It's, we've talked a lot with Camlann talking about the physicality of scenes and the physicality of the acting performances, and this was kind of a way of cheating it a little bit and kind of adding it into this episode, and showing that it can be done even if you've remote recorded the voices in a sort of this kind of direct to microphone kind of way. There is a way of adding that physical movement in, and that was the kind of little challenge I set myself, was to try and make it sound like a full body performance when it wasn't necessarily. So it's why you have these sort of footsteps here that are kind of timed slightly dramatically, right?
No, don't lie to the liar, Ariadne. Both of us know that the blood would stain your soul as deeply as it would mine, and neither of us will easily survive that.
Would it be so much harder than their weeks of hunger? Huh?
So these footstep sounds are the exact same, but they're tied to different characters based on who's speaking when you wander around, which is a nice little trick. But also, like, the movement is kind of choreographed to a certain extent. It's sort of in my head. It looks more like like it's filmed rather than recorded. So you get the character movements. Sassy Catastrophe, hello, Amber. Welcome back. Thank you very much. How was your holiday? How was Billy Joel? The holiday was fantastic. I was saying earlier on, it's the first time I've left a city that I visited, and I've been sad to leave, and I've not been kind of eager to get home. Like I could have stayed another week. I really loved being in New York. It was great. A lot of really cool things. Did a lot of really cool things. Found some really cool stuff that I wasn't expecting. I'll kind of there'll be more time to talk about it later, but yeah, just it was really cool, and I had a really good time. Billy Joel was fantastic. We kind of lucked out because we didn't realize this, but we were actually there for Billy Joel's 100th show at Madison Square Gardens, and it was being filmed. So, I think it was on CBS on Sunday, and I think it's been broadcast in the UK at some point. But, if you see a live video of Billy Joel at Madison Square Gardens, it's like the 100th show. I was there for that, and that was really, really cool. And because it was the 100th show, just a lot of really weird things happened. So, you know, at the beginning, friggin' Jerry Seinfeld came out to introduce Billy Joel. That was weird. And deeply strange. But then also, like, maybe about halfway through, Billy Joel's like, "Oh, I want to bring on a friend of mine who's one of my who's one of my favorite musicians, and he's a great friend of mine. Please welcome Sting." And and then Sting walks out and sings a song, and then they did a Police song, and like as some, so you know, like. A little bit of lore here. So I started as a bass player. That was my first instrument, and one of the first kind of bass players I really looked up to and learned from was Sting, and so it was deeply bizarre and very unexpected to see Sting come up on stage at a Billy Joel concert. But it was very, very strange. It was a great night. It was really good. I really enjoyed it. We also got front row seats at Birdland to see it for a Birdland guitar show, which was gorgeous and I had a wonderful, wonderful night. What is the deal with uptown girls living in the uptown world? I don't know. We were mostly downtown. We we didn't see any. We were with the downtown men. Where everything's waiting for you. Yeah, well, you know, people keep telling me that New York was waiting for me, so just getting into the new, you know, I'm not going to go into the whole. I have many burning questions about New York City, but I also want to hear about the work for episode 6. You know what? Just pepper them throughout the stream, and then I'll do my best to answer them. I will say, Empire State Building is worth it. It's absolutely. Go at nighttime. It's beautiful. It's a really, really, really good time. I feel sorry for you having to be in Times Square. We actually managed to avoid Times Square. Like there was one point where we were nearby, and we were like, "Do you want to go?" And I'm like, "No, I don't want to go to Times Square." Good for you. Thank you. Anyway, right. Episode 6. So, there's a good example here of actions in having having a lead up, having the action, and then having a tail. And part of that, and so you get that with Odysseus here breaking into a house, searching for stuff, finding nothing, and then closing a drawer in a way that's that's put there to kind of accentuate the dialogue here.
Because we escaped the serpent's jaws.
Nothing! How is there nothing?
You cannot outrun this Odysseus.
What does that mean for you?
So that's the kind of example of that. I want to see the Empire building so bad. Art Deco is my second favorite art movie. It is a beautiful building, inside and out, absolutely beautiful. Would highly recommend it. Like we didn't do much touristy stuff, but that was one I was very much just like, no, that's definitely worth it. So door opening. You get the push. Sorry, I'll mute the music and just have the sound effects and the voices. Pop that there. So your little lead up there is the sort of wriggling the door handle, and then a step back, and then a push. And then you've also got that emphasized by this effort sound here. If you have it without the effort sound, it still works. But just the effort sound just makes it slightly more real and also hides the stitching a little bit. And then the tail of that action is the footsteps into the house. That's so you've got your build up, which is the doorknob, then you've got the actual action itself. And then you've got the tail, which is the footsteps coming in. So that's your full action there. So you've got lead up, action, tail, and then that's how you do an action in audio drama. There's going to be a lot of that in this stream. And then also you have the searching here.
Nothing. How is there nothing?
If you take the line out, the sound design sounds kind of terrible. It sounds very obvious Foley. Whereas if you add the noises in, the effort sounds.
Nothing. How is there nothing? What does that mean for you?
And then also it allows you also get to use the sound the Foley as a character moment here, right? So you sort of sense Odysseus's growing frustration, and that kind of comes to a head when this door slams closed, right?
You cannot outrun this Odyssey.
What does that mean for you?
It's sort of the audio equivalent of a dramatic turn. Anyway, Captain Wilson, bye guys. I have another stream to go to. Enjoy the other stream. I hope you have a fantastic night. Thanks for stopping by, and hopefully we will catch you again soon.
Not outrun this Odyssey.
What does that mean for you?
That's your dramatic turn, I think, in audio terms.
What does that mean for you? Doesn't it scare you? Aren't you angry? Where are our gods now? Who doomed us to this parody of purpose? We're like figures in a music box, whirling on circuits, trapped.
Fated.
Fate
So
is
also
this.
notice the reverb disappears. Like when they go in the house, the reverb disappears.
Night spent screaming as we escape the serpent's jaws.
So you can sort of hear outside reverb.
Night spent screaming as we escape the serpent's jaws.
And they go inside the house, and you can see the volume of the reverb comes down.
Nothing. How is there nothing?
It's a
You cannot outrun this.
subtle little effect, just so it's sort of like the lack of reverb, a lack of room sound indicates a change of scene there. So many delightful rolling R's. This we were very lucky. We managed to find Greek actors to play these characters, which was marvelous. So it means we're getting just that extra layer of authenticity, which we've been bringing to the rest of the series, with the Welsh characters and the Welsh speakers. So it was wonderful to have that, and they are like. I'm gonna be, obviously I'm talking a lot about the sound design, but it's worth saying like every single actor in this episode pulled it out of the bag and absolutely nailed it. Like Dimitri and Christina, absolutely like incredible considering they didn't record together. Just absolutely beautiful acting. And then Peter, oh sorry, not Peter. Will as Polyphemus was delight to work with. Like the audio for Polyphemus was incredible to work with. Well, I'll talk about it when we get there. But oh boy, Will did that very rare thing with Polyphemus in that he managed to make me cry while I was editing this episode. That very rarely happens, but Will managed it here. And I'll specifically talk about when we get there.
You don't have to be him. You don't have to make his mistakes.
Okay, so where are we moving on to next? So we're still outside here. Right, yes, so first thing you get is the wind chimes come back when they go back into the village. Important thing there. That's a little motif coming back, and also sets it up for the next scene, which I'll talk about in a second. Ariadne was so unexpected. I was like, wait, I'm pretty sure she wasn't a main character in the Odyssey. Yeah, we're smashing things together, and that's a big point of the episode, right? It's like, no, you're not really supposed to be here. So also when they come back to the thing, you get a little bit more of our delightful cast doing Walla sounds. Very, very subtle, but just it's just there using voices as the sound design. Just having this lovely little. Just you sort of feel them getting quiet
This
and
is
then,
Serifos.
for their captain.
Polyphemos' island. I don't know how many of you know this story, but in it, 4 of you die if we go up to that cave. The rest of us get food to eat. I will not make you go up there. I am so sick of death. But it is, as far as my first mate and I can tell, the best chance we have. There is
And then you get a little bit more Waller at the end.
I'm not going.
I'll do it. If you go, I'll go. Bye, mate.
I'm not going.
Come on. The sun is setting.
So you get a.
The sun is setting.
So I think it's when you're editing an episode, at least when I'm editing an episode like this, where I've just starting with the vocal recordings, that have been remote recorded, kind of like this way. The thing that I'm looking for is kind of giving, is finding ways for characters to do things, or giving them an excuse to move around or handle things. Just to make things a bit more dynamic, and again, that idea of like full body acting and sound design. And in this case, it was just a little moment of a bag being picked up, despite the fact that you've not heard Odysseus put a bag down anywhere. So it's just this bag appears and gets picked up and thrown over the shoulder.
Come on. The sun is setting.
And then that's a nice little gentle transition into evening. There's always bags and things on boats, right? Yeah, probably. This boat, yes. I love. Sorry, I just really like this scene.
Is that?
Wherever he is, he's not in the cave. Keep moving. Quickly.
So, we have some really subtle Waller in this scene when the sort of footsteps happen. These tiny little sounds, it's great. Just adding that little bit of extra texture. There was a thing I wanted to talk about. It's got some similarity with animation and the with the anticipatory movement first, main movement second, with the follow through at the end, and little extra staggered movements to sell the life of it. I do So I think it is very much the same principle, and I think it's just the comment about pulling stuff from behind your back like in cartoons reminded me. I hadn't responded to that yet. My partner does animation, and there was one time we were working on an animation together, and I was doing the music for it, and it was interesting just kind of getting, because it was a stop motion film, and it was wonderful kind of getting these kind of lessons secondhand almost of like how animations work and then the principles behind. I think it's called the book's called The Illusion of Life, I think, right? I think it's called something like that, and I very much like. I like thinking about stuff in that way. I like thinking about. I like learning things about other disciplines and seeing how they relate to audio specifically, and if there's a way to apply those lessons and those techniques to things like sound design and audio drama. Like I love stuff like that, So I'm thank you for mentioning animation, because it is audio and animation really go hand in hand. They really do. I think there's a lot of overlap, right? Like I get a lot of I watch stuff about like how game mechanics or how you do game mechanics and how you have momentum in a game and stuff, and it's looking at stuff like that and going, oh, how can I use that? Or like I love watching videos where they go behind the scenes of like video game where they go out of bounds in video games and they kind of go behind the level and they sort of show you the tricks of how it works. I love stuff like that, and I'm always like, well, how is that? A lot of the sound design for the tower was inspired by watching videos like that, kind of being like, oh, like I can do sound design by sort of hiding bits behind other things and stuff, and it's fun. When I was working on Stray Gods, there was a ton of audio visuals overlap. Nice, but also the cinematics team were from all kinds of backgrounds. Oh, that's really cool. News media, animation, games, film. That's I love that. Those are the best kind of projects, right? There's like, I'd put Camlann down as one of these projects, and that like myself, Ella, and Ross all kind of come at this from different angles when it comes to making stuff. Obviously, there's a lot of overlap. We've all worked in audio drama. We've all worked on audio drama together at different points, but it's been wonderful to work with a group of people who have such a different approach to things, and I think that's something I'm always chasing. I think with something like the tower, I'm very aware that like it is my project, and that I'm kind of, and I do learn stuff, but it's like secondary. it's accidental. Like, oh, I've accidentally I've painted myself into a corner with sound design. How do I get out of it? Or like I've been like, oh, I want to make this sound, and then going, oh, I don't actually know how to do that. Let's figure it out. But it's wonderful for a project like this. Like I wouldn't have, I wouldn't have said to myself, oh, I want to retell a story from the Odyssey in audio, because I would have been like, that's wild. Like, and reading the script for this episode, I was like, there's no way. There was a point where I said to Ross after reading episode 6, being like, I don't know how I'm going to do this, because the action scenes are of such scale. And I was like, and the scale of the whole story is so large. I was like, I don't really know how I'm going to manage this. But it led to learning a lot of stuff about sound design. And oh, hello, Ross. I always believed in you. Thank you. It's good to see you, Ross. Thanks for being here. Yeah, I learned a lot of about sound design from this episode, and that came from working with people who were coming at this from different angles and coming out from different places, and I really appreciated that. Ross, were you here when we were appreciating your amazing spreadsheets? Were you here for that? Because I spent an awful lot. We had a question in the chat about how we run recording sessions, and I spent rather a long time talking about how wonderful your spreadsheet was. So if you weren't here for that, I just wanted to let you know that happened, and we very much appreciate you. And also, Ross did the dialogue edit for this episode as well, and that was also celebrated earlier, but we should celebrate it again now Ross is here. Yeah, so I believe I had a separate project file for the footsteps. Yeah, so all that, I'm going to quickly jump over to chat while I load up the project file for the Polyphemus footsteps, which I believe was in here. Let's have a look. Is that the... Nope. Ah, there we go. Found it. Okay, so... Whoop. So this is the separate project file where I've been making a lot of the set pieces for Camlann, and here we have Polyphemus walking. So I love doing creature sound designs, but in particular footsteps, because you can tell a lot from a creature by how it walks, by what its footstep sounds like. And this is an example of that. What's this down here? Oh, yes, we'll get to that later. Okay, so footstep. So anytime you hear Polyphemus take a step, it's just this one sound. Right? So again, it's an example of you have your lead up, you have your action, you have a tail. And let me just So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sounds, right? Most of which, as you can see, are the actual footstep itself. You've got this little sound beforehand, which is it's beefy fall slide. Disadvantage on stealth rolls. He's a big boy. He's a big boy. So you've got this, like, I think it's a punch sound effect. It's a sort of big thing sliding down a wall, and that's your kind of that's your sort of motion going into the footstep. And then the footstep itself, so that's a pair of jeans being hit. It's been pitched down an octave. And then you've also got an elbow hit that's been pitched down an octave. So the reason why these are here is that they create depth. They create like a bottom end. And then it means for the noisier footsteps with like the gravel sounds and things, it means that they can kind of take up the higher frequencies. But you kind of want to have as much bass as possible in this. Give it weight. And then just a standard footstep sound down here. And that provides most of the tail, right? So that provides most of the gravel, that sort of gravel sound provides most of your tail if you just listen to it all together. So that little kind of gravelly sound afterwards. And then you also have just a standard shoe stepping on stone. And then there's also, which I believe this is from Silent Hill 2. Yes, that's a footstep from Silent Hill 2. That's got that little ding at the end that I really like. And then you stick them all together. Footstep. So that ended up getting used rather a lot here, as you can see from this track. There's a separate thing here of things in the distance, and that's kind of what you hear, at least with this sound here.
Is that?
It's literally just a big reverb with the wet dry all the way up, so it means you don't get any of the dry signal, and it just makes it sound far away. Not complicated. So that's me reusing some audio that we'll hear later on, but because it's in the distance and because there's other stuff going on, you don't really see the stitching.
Is that?
Wherever he is, he's not in the cave. Keep moving. Quickly.
Now, we talked about wind chimes as a motif in this episode. It changes here because basically I found this happened entirely by accident. This is where this started because I found a sound effect that I really liked and I found it in my library. I don't remember where it came from, but I'm so glad it's there. But basically, let's see if I can find it. Is it this one? Yes. So this is a recording of some sheep on a mountain. Does it say where? No, it just says Summer Mountains. But I'm gonna hazard a guess that it's some sheep in Switzerland because they're wearing bells. They're wearing like very much like the where's it gone? The Gell bell, which was here. Have I lost it again? Oh, damn it. Okay, well, there it is. You know, this bell here. I'll hold up the camera so you can see it a bit better. In Switzerland, they've all got massive one of these around their necks, so it means the shepherds don't lose sight of them. So whenever they move, you get this sound. And finding this, I was like, I love this sound. Just have a listen. I love that. That's such a cool sound. And so that's where the idea for like, well, you know, I mean, why don't we use that for, why don't we use that as a motif? So it means you get the wind chimes at the start, and then when they move into the cave, you get these sheep bells, and then there's another thing that you'll hear in just a second. We used that on Canaan Fields. Yeah, amazing, awesome! Like it's such a cool sound. There are sheep bars in here, but I also added some extra stuff from one of my sound effects CDs.
Take the cheese and one of the sheep. Then we go. Stay quiet. What are you doing with that? What the hell are you doing?
Okay, so not much to talk about here. Sheep gets shot.
What are you doing with that? What the hell are you doing?
So, a little bit of blooper audio for you, actually. Give me just a second. So I had to try and find a gunshot to put in here, because the idea is that somebody shoots a sheep. I've got quite a lot of weapon sound effects now, just from gathering stuff, and so there was a point where this particular moment sounded a little bit different, and it sounded like this.
Take the cheese and one of the sheep. Then we go. Stay quiet. What are you doing with that? What the hell are you doing?
Just that. I just love the idea that it was just very funny to me. This sound of one of the crew just atomizing a sheep, like. I don't know why that was so funny. I was just, oh, I just made me very happy when I first made it. It's such a violent sound as well. Anyway, just gone. Just this. It's not even like they're unsalvageable. It's just like that sheep is a fine mist. Like it's just. Anyway, so obviously we didn't do that. Obviously, it's just a nice, clean single gun shotgun here.
What the hell are you doing?
So, there's a little in terms of like, we kind of used a little bit of sound design to create a bit of emphasis here. So if I just take the gun out.
What are you doing with that? What the hell are you doing?
So, if I cut it here.
What the hell are you doing?
So that's the sound of the sheep falling over.
What the hell?
We made it quite heavy, I think. 'Cause it's quite a heavy sound. But then also I added in the sound of like cloth being grabbed, so like a kind of sound, like a grab. And then also just like some gun foley. It's this idea that like to kind of add a bit more movement and a bit more emphasis to Odysseus' line here. It's this idea that like Odysseus goes and grabs the guy and grabs the gun, just making the action a lot more intense and frantic. So.
What are you doing with that? What the hell are you doing?
Oh, just. I'm so happy with how this scene turned out. So this sound here. Oh, I love it. So this is a sound that you'll hear a little bit later on as well. But so Ella took a lot of inspiration from, I believe it's called Epic. It's a sort of concept album about the Odyssey. When she was rewriting it, she came across this, and it kind of sorted out. It kind of cleared a lot of stuff for her in her head, and she sent me it. I listened to it. I absolutely loved it. The kind of the Polyphemus cycle. I'm blanking on the name right now just because my brain's all jet lagged. But the way they handled the other giants, I really loved that, and I kind of wanted to do something similar. But I wanted to do this idea that like I wanted the like, you know, Poseidon and the other giants and the other gods. I wanted them to be this big presence that didn't say anything, and kind of go for a much more kind of classic Hollywood Jason and the Argonauts kind of sound. So the gods and the other giants are represented by this sound. this big thunder sound. And that was made over here in the set pieces project file. Let me just... so this was made... How did I make this again? So it's mostly just lots of thunder sounds stacked on one on top of the other, right? So we've got a thunderous boom. Everything's being run through a granulizer just to kind of make it sound slightly unreal and just make it sound. It's called crystal artifacts, but I quite like this idea that you've got these sort of magical tints to the thunder sounds. Like if I turn it off, it's just a sort of thunder sound, right? It's got a bit of a wetness to it, which I quite like. But then also if you add the granulizer, I don't know, it makes it sound more organic, makes it sound more vocal, I guess, right? And then we've got stone armor, which doesn't sound like, I'm not quite sure where... Basically, I got a sound pack called Magic, and then I ended up using a few sounds from it in here, along with the granulizer. It's a futuristic whoosh. And then a recording that I made of a thunderstorm that I think I've slowed down. Did I slow that down? Oh, right. Okay, yeah, sorry. That was another thing I did. I should probably remember this stuff, right? I took off a lot of the high stuff and very subtly boosted all the low frequencies. So if I turn the EQ off, this is what it sounds like. But if you take off a lot of the mids and nearly all the highs, it's just a lot more rumbly and deep, which is what I was going for. So that's where that particular sound came from. It just like I just really love this scene. I just think it's come out really, really well.
What are you doing with that? What the hell are you doing? Who are you? My lord, you misunderstood.
Oh man, I'm just very happy with how this turned out. So, first thing to talk about, the walleye here. Great work from the actors. Just great. So, wind chimes. Talked about wind chimes. So you've got the wind chimes, you've got the sheep bells, and you also have Polyphemus wearing a necklace, which is just some wooden wind chimes. Because the thing is, right? So in my head, I imagined that Polyphemus was wearing like a necklace of bones. And I thought that would be interesting in terms of, again, because we were wanting to kind of have these characters be a bit more three-dimensional rather than just a floating voice. And I think especially when it comes to monster sound design, I think so much you get a really cool sounding voice, but nothing else. You don't get any kind of sense of scale or size or movement or anything like, or, you know, clothing, you know. So, I very much, as much as Polyphemus is a character, I was very much treating it as this is creature sound design. And I was wanting to kind of make that sound a bit more dynamic and a bit more busy. And the way to do that was to give Polyphemus a necklace, and then it ties into the wind chimes motif that we talked about earlier. And it's mostly just the movement is mostly just the footsteps plus the necklace, right? Like if I just isolate Polyphemus, maybe it's bones.
Who are you? You killed my sheep. This was my favorite sheep. Thieves! Murderers! Who are you?
So yeah, like just the you've got the footsteps, you've got the voice, and then what the necklace does is it just ties all the sounds together, and it kind of makes it a cohesive kind of set of sounds. And yeah, I think it sounds great. I love how this episode has turned out. I've not listened to it since it has come out because I was away, and it just makes me happy. Yeah, I don't like the sound it makes when Polyphemus is bending down. I don't think that quite worked. I was going for like leather, it didn't quite work. But in context, it's fine. In context, it works. Okay. It's fine, I think. Thank you. Well, I mean, it's too late to do anything about it now. The episode is out. So, for Polyphemus. So, first thing I did was I took Will's original voice recording, brought it down by 4 semitones. So, if I get rid of that, this is what it sounds. This is what the raw recording sounds like.
Who are you? You killed my sheep.
Also, it's been slowed down slightly, so this is playing at 0.9 speed. So if I just quickly change these to 1.0, this is what the raw sounds like.
Who are you? You killed my sheep.
Then slow that down by 0.1, and then bring the pitch down by 4 semitones, and then you get this.
Who are you? You killed my sheep.
Yeah.
This was my favorite sheep.
But then, so on top of that, I added another track which is an octave down, so it's 16 semitones lower.
Who are you?
And then there's another track that's another octave down, so it's 28 semitones deeper.
Who are you?
Just to give it that size, so make him a big, big boy.
Who are you?
Really rattle the cave.
This is my favorite. Thieves! Murderers! Who are you?
No, my lord. You misunderstand. We're not thieves, just hungry travelers looking for food. We didn't realize the sheep belonged to you. Everyone get behind Ariadne and I, now. Please, let us make it up to you. This is the finest beer in all of Greece.
I just like the fact that it's like a 6-pack of beer. That just makes me happy.
This
Like
is the
cans,
finest
yeah.
beer in all of Greece. Please, take it as an apology from my crew and I. Oh, we don't...
Is it? Yes, it is. It is. Like this is the sound. It's like Coors or Bud Light. I believe it's probably some Greek equivalent, but it's just cans of beer. Like one of those really good European beers that you get when you're on holiday. I got excited and hit enter.
This is the finest beer in all of Greece. Please, take it as an apology from my crew
Also,
and I.
just like there were a lot of little sounds like this where I just took a tiny bit. Like I can't even remember if it was like a line or if it was just like if it was a line or if it was like a reaction sound to something else. These little tiny like sounds. I just love them. Like they add so much like dynamic movement.
Is the finest beer in all of Greece. Please, take it as an apology from my crew and I. We don't want to fight you.
By the way, this drinking sound. That's just like that's a cartoon sound effect. And I was just like, oh, I'm probably gonna have to maybe play around with it to make it sound a bit bigger. But no, it was I just put it in there and it sounded perfect.
Who should I thank?
Just great.
Nobody.
Just great. And basically we tried to have the cans sound like as drippy as possible, so you get this lovely kind of so like cans and liquid being poured and stuff. Is this idea that is just like crushes it to drink it, and then just throws the cans down. Great, fantastic, works fantastically well. Did you have any good beer in New York City? Granted, it's not super known for good beer. So there's a curious thing about the United States generally, but beer in the States is really watered down compared to Europe. I don't know what the cause of this is, but like, so there's a beer that we really like. I think it's called Kahuna Big Wave, right? That we've had over here. We love it. It's a wonderful kind of IPA sort of thing. But when we have it in the States, it's so much more watery. Like when we were over there, I got a Blue Moon, which is a Belgian beer that I absolutely really love over here. It's one of my favorites. But it just doesn't taste good in the States. I mean, I'm not really sure what the deal is. I don't know whether it's to like comply with some kind of law or regulation, but beer in the States is not good. Or at least compared to, you know, it's not as strong as European beers. The same could be said for the coffee, but I'm aware that that's like the way Americans drink coffee is very different to the way Europeans drink coffee. So that's a bit more sort of understandable. But the beer thing, I've never sort of heard anyone talk about. But there was a really lovely bar next to our hotel called O'Hara's, and you go inside and it's covered in badges or patches from emergency services from around the world. And the reason it kind of got that way was that we were staying near Ground Zero, and during the cleanup after September 11th, this was one of the few bars that was still open because it was sort of down the road from where Ground Zero was, and the emergency service, all the people working on the thing who were all part, emergency services. They were firefighters, they were cops, they were paramedics. They'd all go to this bar after working at Ground Zero all day, and it just got to the stage where they took their patches off and they started sticking them to the wall. So the walls are just covered with patches from all over the world. It's quite something to look at and see. But we didn't go. We went there once, but a small issue with this place is that it was full of police officers. So we decided to maybe leave it alone. Did you have good food? Yes, had very, very, very good food. We had pizza, and I swear my life is forever changed because of the pizza we had in New York. Like we were down the road from a Joe's Pizza, and it is truly life-changingly good pizza. We had Mexican food, which was delightful. One night we had Mexican food. We had sushi, which was good, but there weren't very many veggie options for me, which was slightly disappointing. Yeah, I'm trying to think. Oh, we had loads of breakfast food. Nobody does eggs like New York. Like oh man, I had one morning for breakfast. I had skillet baked eggs with feta and tomato. Oof. It's the best breakfast I've ever had in my entire life. There was also a place down the road called George's. If you're ever in New York, go to George's in Manhattan. It's one of the best food places in New York. They did like avocado toast with fried egg on it, and it was beautiful. They also did massive bagels as well that we had. Oh, it was great. We went back like 3 times or something. I will say the US does know how to do breakfast really well. Yeah. And breakfast food is the best food. That's just how it is. Hello. Good to have you here. I hope you're having a good Wednesday. We're about halfway through the episode because I keep talking about stuff. I keep getting distracted by other things. Might be because I'm jet lagged. And I'm not as focused as I normally am. I say that implies that I'm normally focused. Anyway. So yes, to go back to what you're saying, we ate the beer was not good, but the food was amazing. The food was really, really good. What is this focus you speak of? Hey. I hyper-focused on organizing my podcast folder and forgot about the stream again. No, that's valid. That's valid. Earlier on we were talking about how we run recording sessions. So we were showing the amazing spreadsheet that Ross made. Yeah. So that's where all the focus is. Lou's got it. Okay. No, for me, I want some. I meant focus when she was a bit blurred. Okay, let's talk about the moment where somebody gets eaten. It actually ended up being Ross, would you believe? Just because of the way the wall art worked out. Sorry, again, I know I keep saying this, but I absolutely love how this scene turned out.
You will be the last to die.
Run! No! Get out of the cave!
Little travelers, you cannot deal harm without recompense.
It's so dramatic. It's so over the top dramatic. I'm so happy. Like, oh, we basically, oh yes, all the violence, yeah. It does not improve. So, giving Attack on Titan. I was very much just like, I just want to have big, like, yeah, just these big sounds. So, what do we have? So, at one point we did have a recording of someone specifically being the person that gets eaten by the Cyclops, but it sounded like slightly too cartoony. But the thing is, the way the Walla sounds, we still have what we originally had. So this is what it originally sounded like. It didn't work, so we just took that down. But the way the Walla worked out, you can hear Ross over the top of everyone. But just as a result of that, it sounds an awful lot like it's Ross being eaten. Like, just have a listen. Let me turn the music off so you can hear it properly. Right? Like, it's just... So, so thank you, Ross, once again for saving this production. Taking one for the team. Yeah, so as you can probably tell from listening to it and my reaction to listening to it, I had a lot of fun with this bit. Let me just turn this off. So first of all, you get the eating.
Run! No! Get out of the
Yay for Ross being eaten alive. So let me just mute the voices a second. Once again, we get to talk about actions, lead up, action, tail, right? You get it. So you get and part of that is the walla acts as part of the sound design in this instance, right? So you get the pickup, you get the movement, then you get the throwdown, right? So where are these chewing sounds? So here they go. So your build up is this little kind of, you get a little tear, and then you get the explosion, and then you get the chewing afterwards. Sounds horrific. And then you get the slam. You get the slam as well, right? So you get the throw. It is wet violence, isn't it? Like, what the hell is that? It's so wet. It is like lots of juicy gore sounds. Oh yeah, sorry. This was a fun one. So for the corpse hitting the ground, I used the sound of this happened by accident. I used the sound of an apple falling out a tree. It's quite noisy. It's quite a noisy sound, but like, if you add it with just like, it's more of a roll rather than a slam. Whereas if you add it with the rest of the sounds, it sounds just a lot more like like something with multiple limbs hitting the ground, right? So yeah, like if you want bodies hitting the ground, apples. That's the way to do it. I didn't know this was a random thing I stumbled on, but apples falling from a tree or falling from a surface onto the ground. It's great for bodies. If you want like a body falling from a great height, for the corpse hitting the ground is an insane way to start a sentence. It is. It's a weird job. We're going to talk more about it in a second. Also, I just want to draw your attention to this line here.
You need to learn a lesson, little travelers. You cannot deal harm without recompense.
That's Warhammer. That's like that sounds like the trailer for Mechanicus. That's incredible. Oh, I'm so happy. Like, it's like, oh man, it just sounds so good.
You need to learn a lesson, little travelers.
Praise the Omnisire, right? Like, you can imagine somebody saying praise the Omnisire in this voice, right? Oh, it sounds so good. I'm so happy. Then you add the music.
You need to learn a lesson, little travelers.
Oh my god.
You cannot deal harm without recompense.
Just, oh. On a related note, I believe Will, who plays Polyphemus, is in Baldur's Gate 3, which is really cool. And I am unsurprised at this news. Like, listen to this.
You need to learn a lesson, little travelers.
Let me bump this up to the original pitch. and then so that's not been slowed down. This hasn't been slowed down. Let me just mute everything else.
You need to learn a lesson, little travelers. You cannot deal harm without recompense.
Just already beautiful and amazing. Just bumping it down 4 semitones and then adding like 2 big octaves is just really bring out the gravel there.
You need to learn a lesson, little travelers. You cannot deal harm without recompense.
Oh, just sounds great. Oh. Ella, hello. Hello from Manchester Airport. Did you just land? Hi, Ella. Well, good news. It's 10 to 10, and I'm like halfway through the episode. So you're not... This is such a slow stream. I'm going through passport control. My God. My God. Okay, right. How we do? How dare and well done, Ella. Oh my goodness, the dedication, absolutely. So what do we have next? What's in our next? And do you have? Is this the stealth scene? This is the stealth scene. So, is this where we have body movements and things?
Are we even ourselves anymore? Mourning is a waste of time. We could be rushing into even more certain death.
Stop that! I didn't want this.
Didn't you? Follow your story, Odyssea. Stop running away, Odyssea. Play chess.
What was the alternative, huh?
Yeah. So this was kind of a little. So this is a long dialogue scene here, right? But to create just a little extra bit of emphasis on some of the lines, I added in some body movement sounds, It just adds a bit more dynamic movement.
Even more certain death.
Stop that! I didn't want this.
So
Didn't you?
I'll play it without the movement.
Even more certain death.
Stop that! I didn't want this.
Didn't you? Follow your story, Odyssea. Stop running away, Odyssea. Play chess.
What was the alternative, huh?
And then if you play that again, but with these like little body movement sounds.
Even more certain death.
Stop that! I didn't want this.
Didn't you? Follow your story, Odyssea. Stop running away, Odyssea. Play chess.
What was the alternative, huh? We have found no other island than...
I have a question. Why are they calling Odysseus Odyssea? I believe that is the Greek pronunciation of the name. Ella will be able to illuminate more. But my understanding is that it is the Greek pronunciation of Odysseus.
Didn't you? Follow your story, Odyssea. Stop running away, Odyssea. Play chess.
I love like these little movement sounds. Just make him sound so flouncy. I love it.
Follow your story, Odyssea. Stop running away, Odyssea. Play chess.
Gooby Dooby 77. Hi everyone. Wanted to join sooner but forgot. No, not at all. Like everyone is off the hook this week because the clocks went forward in the UK on Sunday, so the timings are slightly off. We're into summer hours here, into summer hours, summertime here in Scotland. So do not worry. The timings are all off this week.
Follow your story, Odyssea.
It is so dramatic.
Stop running away, Odyssea. Play chess.
What was...
And just this sound, just to me at least, when I heard this, it's this idea that like Odysseus just like sulks and turns away. Like,
play chess.
What was the alternative,
you know,
huh?
it's just very funny. What do we have here?
Very funny.
I'm serious.
That's another one. That's another sort of example here.
So what do you suggest? How do we find our way out?
Very funny.
I'm serious. You're not in this story.
A little smack right there. Just a little.
Very funny.
I'm serious. You're not in this story.
Again,
How do we
just
change
adding a
it?
bit of emphasis, but also adding a little bit of character as well. Just adding in a bit of extra movement, a bit of extra character, and also I just think it sounds fun. It isn't...
How do we find our way out?
Very funny.
I'm serious. You're not in this story. How do we change it?
I don't know. What happens next?
Again,
Two
you can hear
more
the sheep
people.
bells. You can hear the sheep bells in the sound design.
Flowers from the lotus eaters. I thought you weren't following your story.
I hope I
Oh
wouldn't
yeah.
have to.
So we have the flowers from the lotus eaters.
Let's call that Plan B. Do you still have the flowers from the lotus eaters? I thought you weren't following your story.
I hoped I wouldn't have to.
So the in my language, Odysseia is the pronunciation for the Odyssey. Oh wow, okay, that's really cool. Okay, it was a fascinating thing for me to kind of hear when we were recording, and yeah, like I think because I think it's so like this is absolutely a you know Western thing, but like it is like I think it's so often forgotten that the Odyssey is a Greek story, right? Like it's sort of just been absorbed into the Western literature canon. That I think it is forgotten, and it was interesting, kind of getting this perspective on it when we were putting it together. Yeah, I thought that was really cool, and I think that was one of the. It was a very big sort of rewarding part of making this episode. So the lotus, the flowers from the lotus eaters have this kind of magical quality to them. So if I turn the effects off, it's the Gale Bell. it's the Gale Bell run through granulizer here, and then run through the bisexual reverb. And then you get this delightful sort of magic sound here. And that's how you get this delightful. Well, here's slightly more of it in a second, but yeah, that's where it's coming from. These are two very, very good programs. Autochroma is made by Imagiro, who's a really, really cool plugin developer. Also makes the piano plugin I use for absolutely everything, the Imagiro piano. And then Glow is a very small kind of reverb that's kind of designed to emulate 80s reverb specifically, but I use it for absolutely everything because I think it's fantastic. And also it's bisexual, so that's a good reason to go get it. All the best reverbs are bisexual. That's just science. The Odyssey is also one of 12 parts books, and we only have about 3. Yes, because there's another one. It's meant to be like a chronicle of. There's something I can't remember, like. I remember reading about this, and about that there was a specific book that is lost to time, and it sort of ties the Odyssey and the Iliad together. I'm probably misremembering that, but I'll try and remember that for next time. You said the 80s, and I was like the K-pop group. I was like, no. All the best reverbs are bisexual. Yes, they are. That's just science. So then we have a stealth section.
I hoped I wouldn't have to.
Bouncy is enough for everyone.
I get a scene with get a whole scene with solid Odysseus. Sorry, that was a really terrible joke. I'm sorry. Only like 3 people are gonna get it. Splinter Cell Odysseus. I need to stop talking. This is where it comes out that I really love. This is where it comes out that I really love stealth games. So.
Don't say
Like sneaking behind.
there's enough for everyone. You don't need to hog at the trough.
Somehow yelling. Odysseus doesn't have the same ring as yelling snake. Is Odysseus big boss in this scenario? I don't know. We're also missing most of Canterbury Tales, but that's probably because Chaucer had wild ADHD energy and probably never finished it. We believe there might be a whole series from Homer which focuses on each character, but we only have the Iliad and the Odyssey remaining. It's a bit of an out there theory. Because also, like, Homer, a lot of people are like, Homer probably wasn't one person. Homer was probably like a collection of people. Chaucer is so filthy. Like, oh, Chaucer's fantastic. More can sounds here.
Just because you're not in the story doesn't mean it can't kill you.
That might be exactly what it means.
I don't think it's the kind of theory we should test, Princess.
Ready?
Brace for the fireworks. Cover your mouth. Don't inhale the steam.
Nobody!
Shit!
So, we have the same effect that we had from last time. So we had the bell running through the granulizer. Get this lovely sound. But then also there is a sound here of... So this is a vitamin C tablet. A vitamin C tablet being dropped into water. So then you just add those together and you get the perfect, the absolute sound that you want. Ooh, what a delicious sound. It is a delicious sound, isn't it? With Alka-Seltzer, yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Cover your mouth. Don't inhale the steam.
Nobody!
Shit! Hide!
It is just very funny to me, just this, and it's entirely me. It's nothing to do with the script or the acting or anything like that. It's just very funny, this idea that, like, Polyphemus goes, nobody, and then it is just like, oh shit, runs away. Like, Ariadne's just standing there. It's just very funny.
Shit! Hide!
It's just,
Little princess.
God damn, this sounds good. Sorry, I'm going to keep saying that because, like I said, I haven't listened to it since it came out, since I finished it. So
Little princess.
I've forgotten what this sounds like.
Little princess.
I am a guest. I have long admired you from afar, and I've come to give you offerings.
How did you find your way into my cave?
I like to wander the tunnels beneath my palace. One of them led me here.
You must show me this hidden entrance. I would not want my thieves to escape their justice.
Well, Alice posted some stuff. It was really important to cast Greek actors for this because I really wanted us to remember that's a Greek story. Yep. We stripped Greek accents out of Greek culture so we can reskin it as English and American. And I think that's bullshit. It is. Absolutely is. And completely against the point of Camlann, which I agree with. I feel like there was something else you said I could answer. I can't remember. You said it was... That's how you pronounce it. Yeah, in Greek. Yeah. Okay. Crunch your vitamin C tablets for a fizzy treat. I think we're about to demonstrate why this is a bad idea.
Of course. But perhaps first...
I recognize this perfume.
I mixed it with flowers I found on an island not far from here.
Then you must drink it first, little Prove to me that this is no trick.
Of course, my lord. Perhaps we could drink together.
I've just like I forgot I put a bass. I put a bass line under the music here.
Half from here.
Forgot I added a bass part. Because that's mostly a repeating sound. Where is it gone? Yeah. But there is a granulizer that gradually gets louder, so the things get a bit more wobbly and warped as the piece goes on. So you can sort of start to hear those reflections and sounds. And if you're interested in what the instruments that are being used, there is a Imogiro piano being used on the Celeste setting, so it sounds like this. And that is being run through a different kind of bisexual reverb. And then we've also got... which is a sound font from the Professor Layton games. I forgot I did that. So that's... So in this scene, Ariadne is solving a puzzle. And then we've got the Sega beeps from the also being run through bisexual reverb. So it's been run through a Sega Mega Drive. Get them together, you get this delightful. How do I get... Yeah, Polyphemus is like, yes, I will drink your potion, but first solve this puzzle. Please, sir, we're chasing after somebody who's kidnapped a child. Oh, yes, well, I'll tell you which way they went, but first solve this puzzle for me. I love the Professor Layton games. They're so good. And that's just a bass line from my darling Moog grandmother. And a reed organ. That's all that is. Okay.
Half from here. Perhaps we could drink together. A toast.
This sound... Oh, it took me so long to figure out this, to get the sound of Ariadne scooping some liquid out of this barrel, right? And I'm still not convinced by the sound we ended up using. They all just sound really big, which I wasn't quite going for, but...
We could drink together. A toast. From one royal house to another. I know much of your father and the great seas he commands. It would be my honor to share this with you.
Together, then.
To your good health, my lord.
Such a strange taste.
So, after the potion gets drunk, you get a slightly different sound. You get... basically what I did was I took the sounds and reversed them. So you get this lovely... It's quite subtle in the mix and blends in with the music.
Such a strange taste. Like the flowers. Bitter the walls of my father.
I just love the snoring. The snoring makes me very happy. So, here's a little sound design trick that I didn't know before, that I know now. The fall here. I realized that. So the thing with the fall was that I was struggling to get it to sound big enough, right? So this, it doesn't quite sound. Doesn't quite sound. Oop, beg your pardon. Doesn't sound quite as big as it should, right? Even with the reverb sort of helps, but it doesn't quite, But if I add this sound in, it's subtle, but it sounds a lot bigger. So this sound down here, it's a low piano string. So if I solo this on its own, you get... So it's just like a pedal being taken off. So that's quite low sound. But if you add it with everything else, it just adds a bit more of a tail, and as a result, it makes the sound a lot bigger. And that was a little thing I didn't know. That was a thing I didn't know until I was editing this episode. So if you're wanting something heavy to hit the ground, like, I don't know, say a Cyclops, one way to make it sound heavier is not to focus on the actual impact, it's to focus on the tail of the impact. Because the problem with impact is that, over like that, it's how it affects everything around the impact that creates the weight of the sound. And that was kind of an example of me realizing that the tail of the impact was how to make it sound bigger. It's a subtle thing, but it does change. It does sell the sound a bit more, right?
Ariadne! Clever princess. Come on, let's get you out of here.
Just the snoring is amazing. It's so loud and visceral. That is some good snoring. Incredible snoring. It's not where Polyphemus managed to make me cry while I was editing. Wasn't this? This just made me laugh because I think it's just very funny snoring. Had to do very little to this. It was marvelous. Oh, it's so visceral. It's great.
Get you out of here.
Oh. Good God, I'm going to use that as like a door sound at some point, because that's marvelous.
What happened?
You drank the lotus drug beer.
Okay, so we're about to do the really, really, really big action scene that happens. This was the bit I was scared about, because so much happens in a very, very short space of time. It goes, like, so many things all happen at once. And a lot of scene changes happen. There's a lot of conflicting stuff all going on at the same time. And, yeah, just a lot happens. So I'm going to play the whole thing. and then we're going to talk about it, because I think that's probably the best way to kind of figure out a way of explaining how it works.
Is that a spear or a tree trunk?
We're playing the story. Ready?
I have it.
3, 2, 1. Hide!
Nobody took my eye! Not this time, nobody! I will find you, nobody! You will not get away with this! You will not!
Okay, so it's not the big action scene. Sorry. Beg your pardon.
Not again!
Yeah, so it was this bit that caught me off guard while I was editing, and I just found it incredibly sad to the point where I was like I was crying. I was crying. It's just very sad. There's something very very like there was just I don't know the way it was written, the way it was performed, it just portrayed Polyphemus as this sort of child figure. And it's just very, 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 very sad. I directed Will to make it as sympathetic as possible for this reason. Fantastic job. Absolutely wonderful. He's just a little guy. Making you cry, Amber, like it was really important to me that Polyphemus was sympathetic, because in my opinion it's a big part of why Odysseus spares him in the original story. Yeah, I think it's something that have we talked about this on stream? I can't remember. I don't know, but yeah, he's a very big little boy. My jaw dropped at the nod again. Yeah, it's just fantastic work. So I talked earlier on about the sort of thunder sound, and the like this. I'm particularly proud of this moment because it feels very like I sort of mentioning earlier, like it feels very like Jason and the Argonauts, those very big like Charlton Heston, classic Hollywood adaptations of Greek myths, like the big sort of thunder representing unknown unseen gods or unknown unseen creatures, and that was fun to do. It was nice to have that because we didn't have a voice for the other giants and all the other gods, and it was wonderful to make a sort of unearthly thunder sound that we could use as the thing that is whatever is speaking back to Polyphemus, the Cyclops thunder. Yeah, it's just I love it. The thing is, it still feels like creature design because the way the granulizer works, it does almost sound a little bit like there's the hint that there's a voice underneath it, which is the granulizer doing a lot of stuff there. Also, like, sorry, I know we've talked a lot about wet violence in this stream, but there's just a little bit more wet violence. What did I use here? So there's a clean stab. Awful. There's a pepper being crushed. It's just pepper. And then we have this is called cinematic chops. That's less bad. That's squishy, but it's not like visceral. Squishy but not visceral. What's this here? That's some fabric being ripped. That's again less bad. There's a leather smack. Ooh. So that's something being hit with a whip. And then what's this? Oh, that's just another hit sound there, but stick them all together. But then also just the sound that Will makes here. Like I slowed it down a little bit. Yeah, I slowed it down so it's playing at 0.9 speed. But just the sound. Oh, that you feel that. Become a sound designer and you'll never cook the same way again. Yeah. Oh man. Bold of you to assume I can cook. Somebody mentioned the music. I just want to quickly talk about that. So there's a dedicated piece of music for Polyphemus, which is here. Which starts out, this is the bit you hear earlier on. You'll be shocked to hear a bass line with the reed organ and the Moog. But then when everything kicks off, you get this sound. Bass and Amber soundtrack. It's more likely than you'd think. So, so the piano part, quite simple. Just this little repeating pattern. Basically, it was me just kind of playing around with the melody from the opening, the opening tune. So that was the song that Odysseus is singing, and then there was another Greek tune that I transcribed. I transcribed it by accident because I picked the wrong piece of music to transcribe when I was figuring out the music. That is kind of a sped up version of this. So I was playing around with those ideas and those kind of movements and those shapes, and then this little piano bit came up, and I sort of thought, well, let's use that. So you've got the piano doing that. You've got a synth organ, which I believe is the microchord, the middle log. Sorry. But what I'm doing is I'm holding the high note. I'm holding the high note while I'm playing everything else, so you get this kind of this really high pedal note. And then you've got a counter melody being played on a few different instruments. This little piano bit, and it's a piece of music that's living rent-free in my brain for the past few days. Well, we're not quite there yet, but I'll talk about the music. So a variation of this gets played at the end, and I'll play that now because I had to chop it up for the episode, but it takes this piece of music and then makes it bigger. So very much starts the same way. And that's violin by the wonderful Alyssa Catterall. So this repeats for a bit. I think I added a choir as well, which I believe is from Zelda. Yes, it is. Yeah, the choir is from Ocarina of Time. So this track, as it appears, doesn't end up in the final episode, but it's going to go in the soundtrack because I really like it. What I was trying to do at the end, so this was meant to go, this was under the speech that the Cyclops does, and then there's Odysseus' speech as well. And the idea was I was trying to mash the two pieces together. It like as a piece of music, great, but in the episode it didn't work. But you hear bits of it towards the end. Yeah, you just get some dramatic high piano bits. Slightly off rhythm as well, isn't it? There's another lead, a very subtle lead track in here. It's kind of trying to It's me trying to fit a melody that is in 4/4 onto a piece of music that is in 6/4. So it's why it gets a bit noodly towards the end. So yeah, so that's that piece of music there. Making note to buy a physical copy of the site. Is there a physical copy? Will there be a physical copy? I'm not sure yet. I think there's definitely going to be a Bandcamp release, so you'll be able to buy a copy of it. It's also probably going to go up on Spotify as well. But obviously, if you want a copy of the soundtrack that's got a big, they get it in CD quality audio, the place to get it is Bandcamp. In terms of an actual physical copy, that's a separate conversation because that costs a bit more money. But we're going to have a conversation at some point about, we need to figure out funding and things. But the hope is that if we do merch someday, I'd like there to be a physical copy of the soundtrack available. Probably as a CD, because I know how much vinyls cost to make now, and I don't like it. But you'll be able to buy a digital copy on Bandcamp and download that, and that's yours forever. And also, it's a better way to support musicians that you love. So please, buy music. Buy music so I can feed my cat, and myself as well, I suppose. Vinyl's for being I really love. The thing is, I really love vinyl. I really like vinyl. I think it's a really good format for music. I like having I think in terms of what you get when you buy vinyl, I think is really cool. My partner and I have an ever expanding vinyl collection, but we try to buy secondhand as much as possible. Yeah, I like listening to vinyl, but yeah, they're expensive to make, and also there's a particular way you have to mix pieces, you mix music, and you have to mix it in a certain way for it to go on vinyl properly. So I've talked before about the possibility of doing a tower vinyl release, releasing the first part of the tower on vinyl. And I still like the idea, but it would be a big undertaking because it would mean remastering the entire series specifically for vinyl, and then I'd also have to make the episodes a little bit shorter as well, so I'd have to cut stuff so it would fit on a standard vinyl. But it's something I'd like to do. But we need to finish the series first. Okay, where were we? Nope. Oh, I've done that bit. I still think we should do cassette tapes. I do love the idea of cassette tapes as little collector's items. Again, you have slight limits when it comes to cassette tapes on how much you can fit on a cassette tape. There is I think if we're doing it's have you ever noticed when you buy audio dramas on CDs, it's 4 CDs, or audiobooks on CDs, it's a similar thing. It's the same thing. I think the limit you have for CDs is 90 minutes. So that's 3 episodes? And I don't quite know what the limits on cassette tapes are, but I'd be interested in seeing. The soundtrack would almost certainly fit on a cassette tape, though, so that's a potential option. So I just there's something very I basically kind of went slightly overboard with the sheep sounds in this scene because I love the idea that the sheep are all trying to comfort Polyphemus.
What now?
You tell me.
What?
You're our navigator.
I grew up on the entire Narnia audio drama. There were 25 CDs in this little trifle. Yeah, I've got quite a few. I've got quite a few audio dramas on disc. I've got the Neil Gaiman Neverwhere. I've got it's like a 4 CD set. I've got Great Expectations, read by Hugh Laurie. And I'm trying to think, I've got other ones. I've got Jeff Wayne's War of the Worlds, but that's a controversial pick, putting that as an audio drama. You're allowed as many sheep sound effects as you want. Thank you. That's very kind. So.
Elare, bravo!
Right, yes. So, it's tunnel time.
Quickly, Ariadne.
Okay, again. So, I talked about Polyphemus falling down and making the sound heavier. I did the same trick here with this punch in the ground.
Quickly, Ariadne.
Okay.
So if I mute this sound here and just hit the ground hit here.
Quickly, Ariadne.
It sounds fine, sounds big, but if you add this sound here, which is the piano pedal sound.
Quickly, Ariadne.
Okay.
So you get that kind of rumble, like that really long tail, which makes this whole sound a lot heavier. Because you've got that deep sort of echoey kind of sound of sound moving through these piano strings, which gives it a longer kind of reverb tail. So yeah, like I think I got this off Freesound. No, I think I got it from a pack. But yeah, like if you're wanting an impact to sound heavier, give it a bigger tail or a louder tail, rather than trying to make the impact itself heavier, because the impact is over in a second.
Quickly, Ariadne.
Okay. Find a way out.
Elare, bravo!
So for this magic, I must have put it in the set pieces folder, surely. How did I make this again? No, it's not that. Where did I? Oh, that's the thunder sound. Clearly, I've put this somewhere and I've forgotten where I put it. So this little bit of magic here. So that's the actual command sound, which is just oh no, that is from here. Yeah. So it's lined up with, it's tied specifically to the sound that what Gwen's magic sounds like. So yeah. So that's from episode 3, and then if you listen to, there's this kind of monarch sound. How did you come up with it? Trial and error, mostly error. So with Gwen specifically, we want like kind of like we wanted it to sound really kind of earthy, right? This very kind of ground, this very deep sound. So the sounds we used were, so I've got this mine shaft sound here. It's been run through something. Hang on. Turn that delay off. Is there something else? Where are you being sent to? Ah, okay, there we go. Sorry, it's being sent to... Yeah, okay. Gwen is earth, Morgan is water. Okay. It's this idea of wood and metal kind of straining, right? And then on top of that, we put what is this? So this is the sound of the tomb door from episode 6. It's the same sound. It's basically it's a designed sound. It's like the door of a. I can just show you because you heard it a second ago. It's this sound here. And if we go back to the set pieces, oops, sorry, mute that. It's the same sound, but kind of being run through lots of stuff. And then we have just some metal scraping to kind of give it a bit more of a kind of swoosh. And then that's being run through some really kind of slappy delay, and then that's being run through a granulizer, and it sounds like this. And then the dialogue for the scene where the magic happens, basically I copied it into here and then pitched it down, so so it means that I can just line it up with the dialogue in the scene, and then it sounds separate. So except pitched it down a whole octave there, which is unusual.
Hide!
Oh, where have you gone?
I'm pretty sure the original... Quickly, Ariadne.
Okay. Find a way out.
It's a sound here called Verdant Growth. I think think that's meant to be like plants, like plant magic from the magic pack that I've got. And then also just to add a little bit of extra kind of magic to it, I put the music that you heard in the scene where Ariadne's talking to Polyphemus, and but reversed it.
Find a way out.
Elare, bravo!
It was very I was going for Tears of the Kingdom, where you get when you're in the geoglyphs and there's a pool, and then the pool kind of flicks up, and then you get the memory, and you get a very particular sound. That's what I was trying to emulate with this particular thing. It's me trying to do Zelda, basically. It's me trying to do Zelda sound design. Yeah. So that's where that sound came from. That's what I was thinking of. I'm glad. Fun thing I love about that, Amber, is in Chinese spirituality, wood and metal are the two elements rather than earth. Oh, wow. Okay. I love it when I accidentally do a good thematic sound design. And like the ogre cyclops have the necklaces of weapons, like, oh my god, that's where I got it from! Yeah! Yeah, I got it from... Oh, what are they called? Oh, that's going to bug me. Okay, hang on 2 seconds. Hinoxes, that's what they're called. That's what I was thinking of. Yes, okay, so I've I had to go ask my partner. Yeah, so that clearly that's where the necklace idea came from. Was the Hinoxes from Breath of the Wild. Hang on, let's get a... Ooh, come on. Where are you going? Yeah, so clearly this is what I was thinking of. Which, yeah, they've got the necklace. They've got the necklace of stuff. Yeah. Yep. Clearly that's where that. Yep. May have been some unintentional. I'm assuming that also came from imagery of Cyclops. I assume so. Yes. And they're generally sleeping when you come across them. Yep. So, yep, I did well done for figuring that out. I that did not click with me there.
Elare, bravo! I'm pretty sure the original Ariadne couldn't do that.
Don't question it, just run!
So this is an example of music hiding a lot of stitching, because a lot happens here, and it's real messy. Dimitri improvised that bit. What, bit of Greek?
I'm pretty sure the original Ariadne couldn't do that.
Don't question it, just run!
Elare, bravo!
Oh, right, that bit. Oh, right, okay, I didn't...
Elare, bravo!
That's really cool. I love that.
I'm pretty sure the original Ariadne couldn't do that.
Don't question it,
I'm just going to let this play just because a lot happened.
She's still here!
come on!
We're leaving! Weigh anchor!
He's seen us!
Thank you, Ariadne. Keep running! Start rowing! Now! Keep rowing!
I know who you think you are. Coward and king! I knew him before. Many minded Odysseus, and he tricked me, and I had my vengeance. But you are not him. You are no king, and you are not favored. You will not survive your journey as he did. There is no home waiting for you. There is no queen and no prince. There are only monsters, and the ocean in which you will drown.
So, this was the bit I was scared of. This was the bit I was really worried about doing. I need to stop banging my headphones off the mic. Just because so much happens, and everything that does happen is really loud. And trying to balance that all out. So, first thing that happens is tunnel appears. Everybody starts running, so you've got the sound here. You get the running. That's really loud. It's really loud and pantomime-y. But it's because the scene is so... Like, if I just turn the music off, generally, for the rest of this discussion, give you a good idea.
I'm pretty sure the original Ariadne couldn't do that.
Don't question it, just run!
Start running. Cuts to outside.
She's still here.
Come on!
We're leaving. Weigh anchor.
He's seen us!
Thank you, Ariadne. Keep running.
So again, the footsteps that we used on the distance track earlier on when we first introduced Polyphemus, they come back to give you a bit of idea that Polyphemus is far away.
He's seen us!
Thank you, Ariadne. Keep running. Start rowing now. Keep rowing.
I know who you think you are.
So, I think this is a good example of how you can use music to hide the stitches of an edit. But you can sort of, without the music, you can sort of hear where one bit starts and one bit ends. And
He's seen us!
Thank you, Ariadne. Keep running.
this suddenly they're in the water, right? Whereas if you've got the music, it kind of hides that transition.
He's seen us!
Thank you, Ariadne. Keep running.
Because the music is kind of filling out a lot of the space. It means that you kind of notice it less. Whereas if the music's not there and it's not kind of it's not tying everything together in your brain, it does sound very sudden.
Thank you, Ariadne. Keep running.
Also, during the speech, without the music, you notice that all the crew just stop talking. So if I play it from here. And they just stop while Polyphemus is talking.
And he tricked me, and I had my vengeance. But you are not him. You are no king, and you are not favored. You will not survive your journey as he did. There is no home waiting for you. There is no queen and no prince. There are only monsters, and the ocean in which you will drown.
and I know you, monster. No less stupid and just as cruel. You're right. I'm not your king of Ithaki, but I am Odysseus, and I will survive this journey. So curse me. Call on your father and punish me for my hubris. This is not your story. It is mine.
So I can't remember. I remember there being a discussion about putting some thunder in here at the end. Can't remember what that discussion was, but yeah, I just really like this idea of like it's meant to be this big triumphant moment, but I kind of read it, at least when I was editing it, that it was kind of I read it as tragic, right? It's this idea that this is Odysseus succumbing to the story, and like it is a triumphant moment, but I think putting this little thunder sound in afterward just kind of ties it back, being like there are consequences for this, and I love that. You ever just feel bad for Polyphemus? I do. I definitely do. See earlier, Will making me cry. It's that we moved the thunder to right after Odysseus. Yes, that's what it was. Yeah. And then we come back and then we hear the wind chimes again. Sorry, I'm walking on. Then you get mirror the when Odysseus finishes his speech, do I hear right there is a tiny bit of compelling when he says, "It is my story." I don't believe I put any magic in there. Let's have a listen.
Father, and punish me for my hubris. This is not your story. It is mine.
No, it's not compelling as such, but basically I added some just dramatic reverb on there to kind of give it to kind of, I think.
You know him and I know you, monster. No less stupid and just as cruel.
Just
You're
big
right.
dramatic
I'm
reverb.
not your king of Ithaki, but I am Odysseus, and I will survive this journey. So curse me. Call on your father and punish me for my hubris. This is not your story. It is mine.
It's just an echo or something on my ears striking me. It, like, to be honest, like, Dimitri's performance here is pretty compelling. Like, like, you know, it's it is like the line is delivered very like.
This is not your story.
Sorry, let me turn off the verbs.
This is not your story. It is mine.
Like it's like I think it's clipping slightly, but so I suspect it might be to do with that. But yeah, sounds real good. Ooh. It's my headcanon that Odysseus compelled himself at this point. I do like it's not a bad interpretation of what's happening. So Odysseus claims his story here, but this is the bit in the Odyssey where everything falls apart because Odysseus gives Polyphemus his name, and in this part our Odysseus does the same, which is the same mistake, which is of course why I wanted to pick this story. Amazing. The theme of this episode is that you do not win against the stories by running away or rejecting them outright. You can't stop a raging river with your hands, but you can swim with it. You can adjust your course. You can't beat nature, but you can learn to live alongside it. And that's the point here, is that Odysseus is diving into his myth, sailing into the storm. He knows it's dangerous. He knows people will die, but he has also realized the only way out is through. So that's good. Like, it's just really cool stuff. It's just really, really, really cool. Okay. If there are any specific questions about this episode that you would like to ask, now is the time to ask them, because I don't think I have any other sound design stuff to talk about really. I don't think there's anything else specifically to mention. Yeah, I think that's kind of everything. I think so. That's episode 6. I adore this episode, and it's been so nice to kind of experience it again after being away from it for so long. Because I think the last time I listened to it was maybe the day before I went to New York. So it would have been like a week and a half ago now. Like it would like a long time. So it's been wonderful to experience it again and re-listen and talk about it and remember all the things I did with it. So it's been good fun. So yeah, thank you so much for coming along and for sticking with us. Right, what day is it? It's Wednesday. So the next stream is going to be on Monday, and it's going to be another listen along. We have a new episode out on Monday. It's going to be episode 7. Very exciting episode. I believe we just signed off on it today, the final of it today. So that's all finished. It's a really exciting episode. Some really cool stuff happens that I'm not going to talk about. But yeah, that's going to be on Monday. I'm going to be joined by some of the cast and crew. I'm also going to be joined by the fantastic Ella Watts in visual and audio form, not just on text, as well as some of the cast and crew of the show. I am really tired. I'm going to go to bed. Next stream I will be less jet lagged, I promise. I just saw a sign at a bus stop saying that's what I call anxiety. Good grief. Ella, I hope you get home okay. But yes, thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for coming along. Thank you for sticking with the stream if you've been here since the beginning. I'm aware this one ran on a bit long. We'll be back at the same time on Monday with a listen along stream. I hope you enjoy the rest of your week. I hope you enjoy the rest of your Wednesday. And hopefully we'll see you soon. Good night.